There's no alternative.
There's no alternative. So
it's like how every engine had to go into fuel injection.
Correct. So absolutely, there's no alternative, and you have to adapt and adopt this technology. So I'm not saying technology. You have to adapt to the comply. You have to comply with the regulation.
Or so forget about that business.
Absolutely. Or you don't export to Europe. That's about it. I mean, then maybe you look for alternate markets. Like you have other alternate markets, and then you look for alternate markets and see if you can sell there. A lot of traders are also focusing inward now. They're also trying to see how they can grow coffee consumption within India.
Right.
That's something which is also happening. But still,
EU में बेचना है तो ये करना पड़ेगा.
Absolutely, because if you look at the numbers, 60 to 70% of coffee grown in India is exported. India is still not a coffee consuming country, right? It's a tea consuming country. Only in South India we see coffee being consumed. Yeah. It is growing, but it's going to be a steady growth. So until then, where we are able to consume the coffee that is grown here, I think we'll have to depend on Europe.
True. So let's talk about the next part, which is, in your opinion, right? How many, you interact with a lot of these businesses, a lot of these exporters. What percentage of these exporters you have seen who are actually actively looking to adopt these measures and continue exporting to EU?
No, so what we have seen is, the good thing is, I think the government is got active in this regard as well. What they're also doing is they're facilitating to ensure that most of these exporters are able to comply, right? So the government is also working with a lot of companies to ensure that they are able to use systems and technology. Government is also working on building their own systems and technology to ensure that smaller traders are able to adapt it and use it, right? So having said that, all traders, at least within those commodities which are highly exported, are well aware. They are looking to use systems.
Everyone wants euros, guys.
No, I mean, if a commodity is heavily export oriented, then I think they need to obviously be aware of this. They need to take steps to ensure they are able to comply. The fact that once it's brought in place and it's ensure that it has to be 100% compliant, then I think you have to ensure that you are complying, right? So most of the traders are aware, most of the exporters are aware. They need to comply, and most of the government has also kind of ran programs. They brought in all these exporters on a single platform. They've done a lot of conferences. They've done a lot of talks as well, where the government has explained what the regulation is. Also understood from some of the businesses that already might be complying, understood from various tech companies as well. They've also involved a lot of institutions, educational institutions, research institutions who are able to understand this regulation better. So I think that is happening, and that's a good initiative that the government plus a lot of businesses are taking as well.
So let's talk about this. Say I am now an exporter. I'm like, okay, I will do traceability. I will adopt this system. I will somehow figure out and make sure that I can sell to EU. What are some key challenges you see them facing as they even implement this process, as they implement these steps?
So, like we discussed earlier, a lot of these things are built in silos, right? You don't have one person who maintains a complete supply chain. You have a farmer, a grower, then that is supplied to maybe an FPO or a curing unit, then you have a roasting unit, then you might have a trader somewhere in between who might be selling either roasted coffee or non-roasted coffee. So in that case, it's about the fact that you have so many players involved in the ecosystem. Now, if it's just sending the polygon, then I think it's still okay. But when it comes to traceability, then you have to ensure that you're able to bring in all the people on a single platform, convince that that you need to use the system so that we are able to provide end-to-end traceability to a consumer anywhere in the world. I think that's where the major challenge. The challenge is getting all of them to work together to ensure that we're able to provide end-to-end traceability, because nobody controls complete supply chain of these commodities within India. You'll have an isolated grower, you'll have an isolated trader, etc. If it's a bigger chain who, if they have their own farms, etc., that's a different ball game. But when you have these smaller traders, they procure from different farmers. So getting all of them together to work together, I think that's where the major challenge is.